Hello and welcome everybody to the end. Sad endings. The end of Season 2 of the Great Poker Chip Adventure. We are going to deal out a hand of Texas Hold'em really quick. So quick, pause the video, run, grab a deck, shuffle it up, grab the 2 cards off the top. That's your hand, okay? We're not playing for anything, just maybe a YouTube comment if you get something cool. The Alamo. It's funny, you know, being in San Antonio, my colleagues are like, dude, want to go see the Alamo? I'm like, sweet, the Alamo Casino? Everybody's looking around confused. They're like, the Alamo Casino? What? The Alamo? You know, Jim Bowie, Davy Crockett, the Alamo? It's like, oh, yeah, there's no casino there. Isn't that weird? But they sell face cards. So that's what we're going to use today. Fittingly, Texas Hold'em. Here we go. We're going to flop. And we have... Oh, it's not straight 8 all. Don't worry about it. Nobody's going to 3-bet with 9-10 suited. Oh dear. Seriously? Well, there you have it. Alright. I don't have to, yeah. Leave a comment if you have something interesting. You all know what is interesting. The Alamo. These are just paper cards. Kind of tourist trash. Huh. Interesting. I wonder how much somebody would pay for something like this. Surely not more than like $3. That would just be ridiculous. Oh, you know what's cool? They also have these little things here. I should point out, established in 1718, there's a really good restaurant in San Antonio called 1718 something or other. We didn't get it. We had to look it up. And I could have just busted out my cards and we would have known, but either way. 1718, no way. That's awesome. So that's where we're at. And winding down the Great Poker Chip Adventure. We have some thoughts that I want to share. Let's get this thing back in focus. All right, and we have focus. Finally, that took way longer than I wanted it to. Great job, Panasonic, on your camera here. Either way, I wanted to make a couple of points. Now, this channel has given me a lot of insight into the poker chip world that I really had no clue existed in the first place. So I get people who roll in here who just want a set of poker chips to shuffle, okay? So you can get a sample set of all sorts of chips, right? And they're so inexpensive. You're talking like, what, 10, 12 bucks, $15 maybe for some. And then you get a variety of these sample sets that you can shuffle. I don't know what I'm grabbing here. Just grab different things. And then you can feel the difference between the chips. You have your little stack here to shuffle while you're watching Twitch, you know, Jason Somerville, or you're watching a live tournament on YouTube or Twitch or whatever. And you have something to play with, okay? I get it. I never thought that was a real market, but I guess a lot of people they just want a little stack of poker chips. You don't need 500 poker chips for that. You can just buy 3 sample sets and you're good. And it gives you some insight into the differences between the poker chips. Here's some next gen. Or you can just go on Amazon and buy a little stack of 25, you know, of whatever poker chip you want, whatever's available. So, you know, that's a real market. That's genuinely what some people are looking for. So I think some of the stuff we'll discuss here applies to that as well. There are lots of people who are genuinely just looking for poker chips to play poker. So you're going to need 500, 1,000, 1,200, however many poker chips you need for whatever kind of games you're going to be playing. And that brings us to another interesting point. I get people, oops, that's just an old thing. I get people who write in and private messages and they're like, hey, what do you think about using poker chips instead of certain currencies for certain games? And that led me kind of down an interesting poker-related money themed adventure here. I was looking at these, I'm just scratching my head and thinking something's familiar about all of this. I don't know what this is. What are these? Monte Carlo. All right, these will work. Huh, a white 1. Monopoly money. That's kind of interesting. Surely the 5. Oh, wait, look, the 5 is that same color. I wonder what the 10s look like. Huh, a blue 10. So kind of a pink, red, whatever, white, blue. Wow. If they only had a 25, it would be really similar here. And then the 50 kind of starts to stray. And then 100 is black. I'm missing the 100. No idea. Maybe it was shot with a 45 or something. And then the higher end ones are orange. Kind of interesting. The 500 is actually purple. But really interesting, that progression that we have in the play money world. poker chip world. Isn't that interesting? I thought it was interesting. So yes, absolutely. You could use poker chips instead of money for certain games. I see no reason why you couldn't. And people who are probably more intelligent than I am, have suggested that. And they do it. So really is an interesting world, this poker chip play money world. Most people's, I know here in the United States, our money is just boring green, so. Over the course of the last few years, I've learned a few things. The first thing I've learned, premium chips are nicer than economy chips. Okay? That's where we're at. I was hoping, for 2 cents a chip, you could get something that was as nice as something where you're paying around $1 a chip. That's just not the case. It's just not. I've looked. If you know something that I don't, let me know. But I've not found any economy chips that are even close to compare with the premium chips. So the second thing I want to talk about is that stock poker chips are, and this is the general rule, are not an investment financially speaking. I understand conversationally people are like, oh, well, I want to invest in a good set of chips, so I'll like them for longer and I won't have to go out and buy another more expensive set. Okay, I get it conversationally, but it's important to remember when you hear that, you understand what's being said. Obviously, for the majority of chipsets, the vast majority of chipsets you buy, they're actually going to decrease in value. Yes, you can recoup some of that money, but recouping some cash doesn't make it an investment. It's still a consumption. And there's always going to be somebody who rolls in like, what do you mean? I bought like 300 TR Kings and they've tripled in value in the last 20 years. Okay, yes, okay, good for you. For starters, yes, those are the exception. Those are, there are going to be some that increase in value. They're lovely. I get it, okay? But generally speaking, for most of the people out there buying poker chips, that's just not going to be the case. So clear that up right away. Third thing that we have to address, we need to talk about budget. Your budget plays a huge part in how many chips you're going to get, what your needs are. If you need thousands of chips for massive tournaments, you may be budgeted out of some of the premium chips. Most people are not going to complain. In fact, I can't imagine anybody who would complain. Oh no, we're using some China clays for a tournament. Oh dear. It's like, come on, really? You're here playing a tournament and you're complaining about the poker chip selection? Generally speaking, I've not seen that as the case for anything. Usually people are more interested in the game and what's going on than your poker chip selection. So don't feel too put out if you're settling for a middle class or an economy chip just because of the scale of the chips you need. And this all fits into budget. And if you have several $100s to spend, it could be the difference between 300 premium chips and 1,000 of less expensive chips. So keep that in mind. The quality and quantity both come into play. Number 4, get what you like. And I can't emphasize that enough. Just chatting with people on YouTube, intelligent people who they see the sparkle of, like, for example, these Monte Carlo chips. And they're like, ooh, must have. They're not worried about the flashing on the side. They're not worried about flatness. They're not worried about the weight. They love them. Okay, now I do care about the feel of the material and the flashing and all this other stuff. So the weight, so it does kind of affect my decision. Not my first choice, but that doesn't mean it can't be yours. So get what you like. Just because I tell you, oh, these hot stamps are great. If you look at these and you're just like, ugh, something's wrong with you, John. Seriously, you need to visit that place in the one who flew over the cuckoo's nest, because you need some serious electrotherapy, okay? Shock therapy. Okay, I get it. You don't like these. So buy what you like, okay? That's another thing that I've learned over these last few years. Number 5, your first set, whichever one it is, will probably not be your last. I'm not saying you're going to get one every year or every 5 years or 10 years. One of these sets can easily last a decade, depending on obviously how well you care for it. If you leave it out in the sun, with seagulls flying around, they may not last as long as something that's stored properly indoors. So don't let your thinking of, oh, I'm just going to buy one set forever. Think of it as a long-term purchase, yes, but not necessarily as I'm just going to go into a massive amount of debt and buy a million chips and then that'll be it for the rest of my life, because in 20 years you're going to be finding another set. You're going to be like, oh man, I didn't get some of those. Now, number 6, and this is something we've discussed before. Get a sample set. Come on, just do it. Narrow it down to your 2 or 3 favorites and get a sample set. If you're not sure the difference between like a ceramic and a China clay, get a China clay sample set and a ceramic sample set, and you can see, feel, and hear a massive difference here, okay? So those are some thoughts. Sample sets really will help you out in the long term. Plus, chips look different on camera, in pictures, than they do in real life. Now, the final and 7th point and conclusion that I can make today is the Grand Tour is just better than the current Top Gear. That's pretty plain to me. So you've seen my favorites video. If you haven't, you can go back and watch it. There'll be a link somewhere, the description, something. You can go watch that. But I'm going to make some recommendations now. Oh, I need to update my favorites video. These Hot Stamp Atlantic Club are now my favorite poker chips. Number 1, above Tiki Kings. Okay, these are just number 1 right now on my list of awesome chips that I love and are on my list to purchase. So that's the update. Now let's talk about recommendations. Recommendations are different than my favorites. I have trouble recommending these to everybody, although I can highly recommend them, because these are just out of a lot of people's budget. A lot of people don't like the hot stamp look. I understand. And they're not readily accessible. There's one vendor, one place to buy these. So let's move these lovely chips off, and let's talk about what I do recommend. The first thing, a good place to start is with a company that we recognize, right? So there's a company called Claysmith, and you can visit their website. They make a variety of chips that I think are worth looking at because of consistency. The mint poker chips right here, these are metal insert ABS chips, labels. They're kind of economy. They're not super cheap like some of these, like the dice chips, but they have denominations on them, easy to read, reasonable, consistent chips, okay? So the mint here, let's see if I can reach over here and grab some more Desert Heat. They have a variety of chips. You can, if you're familiar with Claysmith, you can go look at some of these. This is a good place to start. Another chip that they make that I really would recommend you look at is the Milano Chips. These are readily available on Amazon, so you get an Amazon gift card, right? Or like, oh, I have a $100 Amazon gift card. I want to get some poker chips. You might want to look at the Milanos. Lovely China clay, again, a sticker label, not perfect, but a very reasonable place to start. And that, you remember, this series is geared more towards somebody like me who's starting out looking for poker chips. So China clays, very reasonable, readily accessible, easy to get. There are some other China clays that I should definitely mention. Pharaohs have a lovely label progression. There's absolutely lovely. Go to Apache Poker Chips and check those out. Really interesting set. The Majestics, also I have them kicking. Oh, they're right here. The Majestics are also a lovely China clay. The China clay feels different. They have a little bit more texture to them, especially the Milanos. They have a little bit more texture to them than, say, like the plastic ABS, which feel really plasticky. These feel more like a Las Vegas Strip clay casino chip, like a Paulson chip. Just because it feels more like it doesn't mean it feels exactly like it. I don't want to be too pedantic here. So definitely China clays are worth looking at. And then something else that I would recommend are ceramics. Now, ceramics come in a wide variety. You can get some relatively inexpensive stock ceramics like the scrolls here. These are very reasonable chips for what you're paying. And you can move into some of the more expensive ones like these Tiki Kings. Again, look in the description on where to buy all of these. Ceramics are also a great bet. If you're not sure the difference between these three, you can go get sample sets. Get a sample of the mint, sample of Milanos, sample of the scrolls, and you can feel the difference. It's pretty clear. In fact, let's do a quick little sound test here. And there you have it. So I'm not sure how well my mic picked that up. Now, these are all very different. They're all lovely chips, and they will get the job done. And you can choose which ones you like the most. And so there are some things to remember. The Tiki Kings, remember, whether you get them from Old West Poker Supplies or you get them from BR Pro, remember that there is a turnover time, meaning they actually have to make those for you. It'll be several weeks before you get them. If you buy something that's just mass produced, like these scrolls, like on Amazon or something, they're going to be shipped straight away. And they're going to be less expensive. So just remember, there is a difference. You can feel the difference. This has a coarser texture, and these have a very smooth matte finish. I like these more. Plus the artwork is just lovely. And these are more expensive. So all things to consider. And so this is a good place to start, definitely. You might want to look at some of the lovely classic poker chip stock sets available. They have rounders. They have the Atlantic Club right here. All of these definitely worth looking at. Oh, another interesting ceramic, which has been sitting right here the whole time, the Nevada Jack skulls. I love these chips. They're just so lovely. So ceramics, classic poker chips, these are absolutely lovely. So some honorable mentions. I might as well mention, let's see if I can find some here. I thought I had some. Oh, the camera's blocking the view, my view. Okay, here we go. The Next Gen Pro Classics are an interesting material, no metal insert, kind of a plasticky feel. I really like these chips for the price. You used to be able to find these for not too much. They're kind of getting harder to find and a little bit more. Just look around if you can find a good deal. Absolutely, I can recommend these. They have sticker labels. So again, not perfect, but they're very inexpensive for what you're getting. You can see square edges. This is my travel set. I'm really happy with the Next Gen Pro Classics. Another honorable mention, obviously you've seen these been kicking around here. The Monte Carlo, absolutely lovely chips. I'd be happy playing with these, even with the flashing around the edges and the extra weight. I'm fine with it. Another one, I'm looking for it here. The Las Vegas Casino. I call it the Las Vegas Sign Casino a lot, just because, you know, they put the Las Vegas sign on there. That's definitely an honorable mention as well. I hope this was interesting. I hope this is useful to all the viewers out there. And remember, there's a variety of people looking for a variety of different uses, whether it's just a little next to your computer shuffle set or an actual tournament set. There sure is a lot of selection out there. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Visit our Patreon link to support us. We are looking for 10 supporters by the beginning of June. We really could use your support. Visit us on Instagram. I really appreciate all the support. We have a mature YouTube audience here. My name is John Hobby. Thank you so much for watching.